So I think that I might have an honest to God, completely original YouTube growth hack to share. I might not, but I didn't find this anywhere. I thought it up myself and I came up with this idea that it must be out there, and I told it to a bunch of YouTubers, a bunch of my friends, and nobody had heard of it. I haven't seen anything online. I did some searching. So I am gonna make this video and share it with you, and I would love to hear your feedback. So after a little more than a year of doing this YouTube channel full time, I have uploaded over 1,700 videos. Now they're mostly shorts, but every single day for the whole year almost, I have uploaded a long form video. It has been a ton of work, and the whole time, I kept looking at this screen and I never made this connection until recently. This is YouTube's automatic thumbnail selection tool. So if you actually scroll through these 200 videos or so that are on the channel and you re-rank it by popularity, one shocking thing will stand out. The only video that has no custom thumbnail on it is also the video with the most views. Now, of course, I did make a thumbnail for this, but I never uploaded it because it was doing so well on launch that I just didn't want to mess with it. I was like, leave well enough alone. It's the video that's doing the best. Let the algorithm push it for whatever reason it thinks it should be pushed, because what matters is if the YouTube algorithm likes it, then it shows it to people and they come. It doesn't really matter if my opinion is that it's the best thumbnail or not. But then I started thinking about how it is that YouTube actually selects these frames. YouTube has built this very custom feedback system where it chooses videos that are uploaded at random, and then it's learning what it is in a specific frame that makes it clickable. And it has complete evidence about that because it's on its own platform. It knows what a genuine click is and what a genuine click isn't, and it knows exactly all the frames that it had to choose from. So it's tuned on a data source that is unlike anything else. And if you're trying to get more views on YouTube like I am, then what could be more useful than an algorithm that already chooses 3 frames for you, and it gives you access to the information about what it's selected. So think about that for a minute. These frames are not chosen by random. It was the YouTube algorithm that identified the patterns in these frames as being the best frames of the entire video. Now, of course, as a creator, you might think, oh, there's just no frame in the video that's better than what I can do by creating something custom. I can actually put together a conglomerate frame that does more to describe than any individual frame, which is true. And there's certainly plenty of experts out there that will sell you courses, that will tell you about the psychology behind click-through, they will talk about calls to action, all of that stuff. But what if I told you there's a way we can get the best of both worlds? The human intuition, but also the algorithmic selection of which intuition will actually get the most clicks. And that's where I came up with this thought. I think there is some logic to what I'm about to show you. So if you take a bunch of variations of thumbnails and you lay them out onto the timeline of a video, say about 5 or 10 seconds spaced apart like I'm doing here, and then you export the video into an actual video that's just frames, which are actually your thumbnail choices, and upload it to YouTube, the automatic algorithm is gonna pick what it thinks the 3 best frames are. Each one of those frames will correspond to one of your potential custom thumbnails, and it will even highlight the one that it thinks will get the most clicks. So now I'm just gonna render this out, upload it to YouTube, and see what it actually thinks is the most clickable of my thumbnails. It's going to make the selection for me. So surprisingly, out of all the thumbnails that have been uploaded to the channel, it thinks that this sci-fi in your mouth is going to be the most clicked. And if it thinks that, it's also the one who decides where this gets shown to. So I think that's probably the best thumbnail out of everything that I put in the folder. Followed in second place by AI Smells and Code Explains Our Existence. So now as a little test, why don't we go over and sort by popularity and see how these 3 did compared to the other videos out of the last dozen or so that I've put up. Okay, so Sci-Fi in Your Mouth got 407 views. AI Smells was the best out of the 3 with 2,600 views. And then Code Explains Our Existence, which is 439, which actually doesn't seem to be the best videos that are on here. So maybe this doesn't work, but maybe because it chose that, it still was given more of a chance, and people just didn't like the quality of the video, and that was the actual decider about how many people got to see it, how many impressions it got, etc. So I'll never know because those are confounding variables that I can't remove from the actual views we got, but it's in YouTube's best interest, let's say, to go find the best frame from every video, and they have absolutely trained their system to find the best frame in every video. And the other thing I think it could be used for would simply being checking variations of the different thumbnails that you have. So an upcoming video that I have is going to be about whether or not in the future we can use CRISPR technology, gene editing technology to make ourselves more intelligent. So I've got a few variations of what that thumbnail is going to look like. So I'm going to test those out today. So this was my original thumbnail, and after looking at it, I started thinking to myself, maybe I'll use more punchy words, like a lot of people refer to injections by using the word jab, and I feel like that's like more trendy. Also, I'm literally talking about injecting CRISPR into our body, so maybe something like a needle would really grab people's attention. Also, I feel like maybe just if it was more contrasty, it might just punch more when it's up against all the other thumbnails that are on a YouTube For You page. So I'm gonna try turning this from red to yellow to see if maybe that would be like more eye-catching. Okay, there it goes. Like, I would have probably thought the same one. I think jab is probably more punchy than your IQ. I would have thought that the actual needle would have given it more of that like factor, and then also the one that's more contrasty. So, and in second choice, it did choose the other one that's just like that but in yellow, and then it went over to the more contrasty version of the original. So yeah, maybe that is a way for you to find the best thumbnail for your videos and grow your channel too. Now, to be clear, with how many videos I actually uploaded this year, I don't feel like I've been very successful on YouTube. This is a long game. I'm gonna keep doing it because I just love making these videos and learning about it and researching it, but maybe this is another little tool that we can use, and all those incremental changes can improve the channel. So obviously the real secret sauce to how these thumbnails are chosen are proprietary. I'm not gonna have access to them, but I tried to do what research I could on how they're selected, and I think there is some important factors about the way that YouTube needs this tool to work versus the way I'm trying to use it. So first off, the frame selection tool might not always be what gets the most clicks. I could see out of those three choices, the algorithm might very well be biased towards getting a range of different scenes. So it might not pick 2 or 3 frames that look very similar, even if it thinks those are highly clickable. It might say, okay, this is the most clickable scene from this kind of a vibe. Like, it might see a pattern in the lighting or in the way the person is framed up, and then go take something from much later in the video. If it's, say, a 10-minute video, it might take something from around the 5-minute mark and then something very different around the 2:30 mark. And if that's the case, then it wouldn't always be selecting the best thumbnail for us. It would actually be looking at your video in terms of like where they are positioned. Another thing that would probably be looking for is the absence of blur. So there's always, especially with 24 frame per second video, there's motion blur, and no matter what quality clickability something has, if it's blurry, if it's in motion, that's not going to be a really good look. So I'd bet that the algorithm wouldn't ever go for a blurry scene. However, the way I'm using this tool, it's just truly hard cuts, and every frame is exactly the same in the 10 seconds that the frame is on screen. So we could probably disregard that, but just something to think about. Now, if I go even deeper, there could be the ability for the algorithm to actually listen, transcribe the video, and then think about the context of the words and look for frames that might fit that. I noticed that it had picked the 3 selection tools before the transcript was finished, so I kind of don't think that it's using all of that context, maybe even metadata, location data, to decide which thumbnail to choose, although maybe it does, it just doesn't feel that way to me. YouTube might also be comparing your video to different groups. So what I mean by that is, if my channel is in the AI space, it might sort of know what good thumbnails in my space looks like because it has a sense of what my audience looks like, and it might compare me just to that group. Maybe it's this big broad overall thing where it just knows in general what kind of YouTube videos get clicks, or maybe it's so specific that it's actually just looking at my past videos and it's sort of saying like, oh, here's one of those thumbnails that looks like one of the other ones from your channel that has been successful. I don't really know what it's comparing it to or how it's prioritizing those different clusters of audience. I even recently shared it with the CEO of VidCon, a guy named Jim Louderback, and it seemed novel to him too. He's the one that encouraged me to put this video up and be like, you should make a video about that. I'd be interested in watching it. So I don't think many people are talking about it or thinking about it. But I'm always a big fan of not trusting your intuition too much. At a certain point, data can tell you more about what the audience wants, more about what the algorithm wants than your intuition can. So start with intuition, add some more layers to it, refine them based on the data, and then hopefully you and I can both have YouTube videos that do really well. We can build a big audience, make a living out of it. And if you like content like this, hit that subscribe button, help me get to 10,000 subscribers. I'll talk to you soon.